Nick's story, In the Beginning with Molly. This is a Blends family story.
Okay, so Molly was born at home, so in Scotland, and everything went to plan. And the midwife left at 5 in the morning, and I wondered who was going to turn up to look after this thing that had arrived. And for 2 or 3 days we just thought she had some swelling from birth around one side of her face, but Beth's sort of instinct took over, and we went to the hospital, and subsequently we found out what we found out. But it was terrifying, because the initial conversations you have with these doctors who are essentially scientists about your child, they aren't complete, the statements. They're like, there's this problem, we don't know what it means, here's your daughter being, So it was terrifying. I was miles and miles and miles and miles from any family, and Beth's folks lived in the Shetland Islands, and there wasn't a lot of support around that. It wasn't via phone, so that was it was really tough actually, but we didn't really know what was going on. Probably for about 8 months or something, and then we had lots of testing done and things like that, and then came out, and the response from those scientists again was they were quite excited about it, because Molly's got a chromosome disorder that was unique. So here's these guys being excited about some problems that you've encountered, and so we didn't stick with that guy very long. We found a couple of very good people actually. Dr. Kirkpatrick, I can't remember his first name, who helped us through that piece, and then lots of support through the eye hospital, and lots of trips to London on the red eye from Edinburgh, and back that day, and then having to wear a cosmetic shell, and trying to put this into your daughter's eye who's screaming. She still screams actually, and doesn't wear it, but there's a whole lot of stuff, and sometimes it's just enough having a new child, and then someone says, well, actually there's a lot of things we don't really know what it means, but that's yours to deal with too right now, and you just want to hand it to someone, not the child, but you just want to take those problems, go away, I'll deal with those when I can. And that's the way I felt about it, going back to the emotionally stunted things. It was I didn't want to know about that. I was like, well, let's just deal with the first issue first, until we've got a baby. But there was all these other things amongst that were causing problems anyway. And that's where Beth was very good. She's a project manager, she put things in their pigeonholes and ticked them off, and chased down answers, and got the right people, and was quite ferocious about it actually. But it was great because I wouldn't have done it. It's not really my way, So how was it? Well, it was like having a new baby, and then having a whole lot of unknowns, let alone sort of having to learn how to change nappies. And looking back on it, I guess it doesn't really feel like much of a big deal, but we did spend a lot of time just holding each other and staying at home, and it took us about 12 weeks to leave the house with Molly. That was for a family event, then we went straight back home, so very protective, quite sensitive about it. I was falling asleep at my desk at work, sort of that sort of action, and Beth was at home terrified with a child that had some problems, and looking back, it doesn't seem like such a big deal now because we've come so far, but at the time everything changed just immediately, and no one expects a child to be born with problems. It's never happened in our families before, and so nobody really knows how to deal with it, or doesn't deal with it very well. So that was sort of a new conversation you needed to have with your families and things like that, because the first time you pick the phone up and say, oh, it's a girl, oh, that's great, what's her name? Molly. It's like, okay, cool. Is everyone well? No. You know.
It is such a huge thing to share your story.
Part of me wants to, and part of you sort of goes, you know, you don't want to, you sort of, well, Beth's father, I suppose, described it best when he was over. We talked about his wife, Patricia, and so she's got Alzheimer's, and Molly, and we sort of looked at them in the same way and said, well, and then Lawton said, he goes, well, you know, I know what it means for me. He said, I don't know, you don't know what it means for you, in terms of what's going to happen, you know, and then when you go, what does that mean as well, you know, and you know, part of you wants to sort of just protect those things, and you put up these barriers and you get a thick skin on about, you know, you and your family, and it's that sort of survival instinct, I guess. But in so many ways, you realise by sort of being insular and getting a thick skin on and being all about yourself, you sort of shut yourself off to being able to grow anyway. That sounds weird, being able to grow. But, you know, being able to sort of accept, you know, who you are as a family and step out with that, you know, with that confidence that this is who we are, and Molly's vision doesn't define her or define us as a family. And
Many thanks to Nick and his family. You can find more stories, ideas and information at blends.school.nz.